Tonight, the stage is set for ABJ, BP Burke, and Lilly to go to Wall Games.
It's still the
What's
match
going on,
game.
everybody? I don't think we have enough teammates, but we'll figure it out as we go.
Well,
Maybe
you can
odds
get your
ever
crew.
in
I
your
can get my
favor?
crew.
Oh, you wanna book? You wanna book right now? You wanna book first
Oh.
book?
We're gonna have the New
Are we
Era
all
versus PPW War Games.
Yeah, who's your PPW War Games? Who's your 5?
Well,
That's a great way to start
my
this
God.
real quick. I love this.
Do I get
Alright,
to have my own team as well?
No,
Can we have a 3-way?
no.
we
Okay.
we
This is
can.
Booker's versus Booker. You're my ring announcer. You have to fight
So-
Paul Ball. You have to fight Fast Freddy.
I like your odds. So
Yeah,
just don't let him read to you.
yeah. He might write a book about it.
So, all right. So if I'm doing a PPW War Games team, you gotta have your captain. I know he's not the champion anymore. I know he got swindled by that Grinch Rembrandt, but Facade's got to be in there. If it's PPW, it's not PPW without Facade. Same thing with, and they may not see eye to eye with a lot of people. They may wind up turning on their own team, and it may wind up cost them in the end. But you got to have South Philly's finest in there. They're the 9-time tag team champions.
Okay,
Some new blood. Let's get some new blood in there.
that's all I got. I got a lot of new blood. My roster is very young.
We got to get some new blood in here. So how about that Dive Bomb Diego Hill, the TV champion?
Okay,
I think he's very impressive. And then you got to kind of have a powerhouse to round it out. You got to have your cleanup hitter, as they say. You got to have your cleanup hitter. So how about that Big Dan champion?
Big Dan champion.
Big Dan.
Big Dan.
And
It's a good team. It's a good team.
And you always have to have that statistician. You always have to have that mastermind on the outside. You have to have your J.J. Dillon. If you're the Horseman, you got to have your J.J. Dillon. And as much as he's got a very punchable face, that Travis Norbert knows how to get under people's skin, and I think he can be an X factor on the outside.
So it's a good call. It's a good call. All right. So I gotta go with my ace. I gotta go with my flair. And I think there's no one better I put in there than Samuel Thompson. Samuel Thompson's a guy who goes out there, puts banger after banger. So that's my first guy. I we'll put a tag team in there, and one of my tag teams is probably going to be my big man, because I don't know if we really have. I'm trying to think. Actually, no, we have a big man. So I'm going to put the Bad Fellas in there. We'll put a little Donnie Bambino.
Big Dan and Donnie. There you go. Yeah, I like it.
No, I got somebody else. I got A-Rod. I got Rex coming in as my big man.
Okay.
What was he formerly known as in
Rex Taylor.
Rex Taylor. Yeah. Rex Taylor's gonna be my big guy. So that's what, 4?
That's 4, yeah.
4, and then I got my 5th. I need that. Who's my 5th? You know what? It's tough. Listen, I'm gonna leave a lot of people. Oh, I have to go Trevor Terry. Trevor Terry is my 5th.
Right.
You know who I almost threw in there? I'll put him on the outside just because I think he's amazing and he proved how great he is on the microphone. I'm leaving out Luca. I'm leaving out. There's a lot of good people I'm missing out. It's hard. It's very hard. But my outside guy on the mic, the talking, going crazy. I'll put George Palominas out there. Our backstage interviews, and go out there and cause crazy. He could be just as distracting as Norbert. Travis
is going to write him so many violations.
Yeah,
ring announcing without a shirt on. That's a health and safety hazard right then and there.
Yeah. Well, he's not ringing it. He's backstage. We keep him backstage.
That's even worse. Yeah. Put a damn shirt on if you're backstage.
But yeah, so we talked about PPW for you last time. So I got to experience a little booking action. I got to help out with the booking team and do some stuff there. So man, first off, I want to give a quick shout out. Holy Hannah, Tom LaRosa. What a fucking megastar this kid. I didn't realize until like this show how much bigger he got. Like he put on pounds in the right way. He looks really good. Like we were looking at photos for him from Mania weekend till now. Different human. Looks great.
Yeah.
And then he had a bit where he was going to do an interview at the curtain with Lilly. We're trying to bring back that old school NWA in front of a live crowd, do a promo, because I want to be able to tell stories in front of the crowd and help carry the stories out and sell that character more, because not always your fans are going to experience those online promos. They may not subscribe, they may not watch, they may not see it. So I'm trying to give the best of both worlds. So we did like 4 or 5 interviews in front of the crowd in different spots of the show, and then the rest was all done backstage. So we trying to do a little bit of both, and not only help the roster get better in the ring by matching people up that can help each other, but also let's get some promo work in. Let's get you that character developed. Let's really put, instead of just going out and doing showcase matches, let's make them mean something.
Yeah, for sure.
And Tom's mic cut out. Well, the mic cut out. I don't know. We kept getting brand new batteries, and they would just die immediately. We think there's something with the mics. Maybe it's the batteries. Who knows? But Tom LaRosa just takes the mic and no mic and just starts belittling this audience. And it was gorgeous. It was the best. It was the best thing ever. And then he gets the microphone. He goes, "Oh, now my mic works when he had to go back to you." Women. And he just slams it into Lily's chest.
It was a big day for misogyny and wrestling in Northeast Pennsylvania on Saturday.
Oh, what happened?
So before I unfortunately wasn't able to make the New Era show. I was at Pilgaru's Brews Giving for Brewcade. And Jason Furious saying he would never lose his title to a woman. Get out of here. Ridiculous. But
unfortunately, I think he forgot to realize that his opponent is Journey fucking Burke.
Yes.
No relation.
No relation. Maybe distant cousins. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah. But I'll say one thing. She is. You name it, Cody Rhodes, John Cena, Bruno Sammartino, to that Pilgaru crowd, they love her. Her.
I don't want to I'm not taking all of Journey's credit, but I'm taking a smidge. Who's ring announcing first Brews Giving, last year's Brew Giving?
That would have been you, yeah.
Who broke the intro of their whole rules of a ring announcer and literally said, "Everyone, let's give it up again for Journey," because like I just said her name and they would just pop more and more, and like then like interviewing her in front of the whole crowd, like that was the Brews Giving. She teased that she was gonna win possibly, and she lost, and she got over that night. But I even got in trouble from the guy. Why do you keep putting her over in the ring? You're a ring announcer, not a promo guy. And they told me to shut up because I kept putting her over. But I'm joking. I'm not taking any credit. Journey Burke is absolutely phenomenal, and she deserves all of that. And 100% to that Brews Giving crowd. There's people who were telling me they were excited about coming back because of the wrestling now. Like they're not wrestling fans every week. Like they're not watching weekly wrestling, but they truly look forward to those bar shows at Pilgaru. Yeah. They built a wrestling audience that are not consistently wressling audiences.
Yeah, which is very cool. And a little piece of news, I'll give you the inside scoop here. I was going to send you a graphic and I completely forgot. But
real quick, for the people who are listening, and this is your first time listening, welcome to the Tornado Podcast. Our Tornado tag under the ABJ Podcast Presents banner. But the bar we're talking about is actually owned by professional wrestler Tony Deppen, GCW, former ROH champion, television champion, right?
Former ROH TV champ.
Yeah. So that we're from the Northeast scene. So when we talk about that bar, we're talking about Pilgaru in downtown Pottsville. They had a Brews Giving style show. It's a whole thing. We're not going to get into everything. But what were you talking about? Your graphic?
I was going to send you something, but I totally forgot to. So I guess I had to announce it. Sans graphic. I wanted to. This is an exclusive. This is going to be announced later tonight. If you're watching here now. If I send you something, would you be able to load on the stream?
Yeah,
the stream
that's me on Facebook.
Okay, let me get this up. This is an exclusive announcement for April 14th, December 14th, which is going to be the final PPW show of 2024, the Winds of Winter. We haven't announced any matches yet officially, but this one is going to be a huge match. It's going to have a lot of repercussions in our women's division. I'm sending it over to you right now. I'm totally not buying time as I download it and make sure that doing the filibustering, baby. Oh, there's going to be a lot of Dusty today. There's going to be a lot of Dusty. A lot of Dusty. We put Dusty on the promo. Put Dusty on the. I just sent you a match graphic.
Ooh.
December 14th.
So this person, before we get in, I actually sent a private DM to somebody today about them, and I put them over tremendously of how impressed I was. First time I ever seen them work live and getting to, I wouldn't say work with them. I don't think I'm a PP. I wouldn't consider myself a PPW roster member or talent. I just go and support, and if they need help, I'll jump in, whatever they need me to do. Like if Paul was like, get in there and wrestle, I would suck, but I would do it for Paul. You know what I mean? That's essentially.
You're gonna go one-on-one with. There you go. Yeah,
I got one. I love this new logo. It's clean, clean logo.
Do you know who designed that? You know who made that logo? That logo, this is no joke, was designed by former PPW heavyweight champion Adrian Soriano.
Really?
Yeah.
It's really good. Really
good. He did a great job.
But this talent obviously is, we just talked about earlier, one of the best talents in the Northeast scene already. And this other one is probably one of the biggest female stars coming out of this area because of the work she's doing at Three Legacies Wrestling.
Yeah.
Just really winning over the hearts and souls of everyone when it comes to the scene. So we got the one coming from New York and the one coming from Lancaster here.
There it is. Sammy Chaos, Zoe Cannon. December 14th, Slaterton Expo Center. There's the whole information right there. ppwwrestling.com for ticket information. I cannot wait for that one.
Yeah, Zoe Cannon is very, very. I'm really impressed with her and the way she conducts herself. She's a home run. She's an absolute home run. Go check her out at PPW on December, or all her work over at Three Legacies Wrestling, and also Sammy Chaos. I mean, Sammy's the GOAT right now. Like, no one's touching Sammy.
So it's funny, you were talking to I think it might have been before we started here. We were talking about Teddy Long stuff. So
yeah.
So in addition to my behind the scenes duties, I am now somehow the on-screen general manager of PPW as well. Somehow. I don't think I'll get that role.
I don't think that role's ever coming to me.
But I keep telling people I want to be I don't want to be like an Eric Bischoff that's all over the show. I want to be more like Teddy Long. I'll come out, make a match, and get out of there. Yeah. But I can't threaten people with The Undertaker, but I can threaten that you're going to go one-on-one with Sammy Chaos.
Oh, you have to book that once. You have to put that, like, someone just pisses you off. Yeah.
If you're a dude, a girl, does not matter. You're going one-on-one with Sammy Chaos.
At least in 2025, it has to happen 3 times. At least 3. 3 at 3 out of 12 shows is not overkill.
That is not overkill. Yeah,
it's really not. Like, so like, say like February comes and someone's like, you know what? Start off with like a female talent. Someone comes out, chews you out. This is bull crap. I don't get my respect here. I need a match, one-on-one. That's it, playa. You going one-on-one with Sammy Chaos, and then she comes out and just annihilates them. Then another 2-month span, a guy's out there giving you shit. And then you go, you know what, playa? And actually, I would probably do 2 girls in a row. Female. And then, like, towards the end of the year, like Christmas time, send everyone home happy. Yeah. Sammy Claus comes out, and you go one-on-one with Sammy Claus, and she comes out and beats up a tag team or something.
I think after we get Santa Norbert in December, I think we have to declare, after what happened last time, a moratorium on Santa suits. Anybody that comes to the ring dressed as Santa Claus after Rembrandt pulled what Rembrandt pulled has to be searched. Like, we can't have that
unless it's Sammy Claus Chaos.
Look, am I going to stop her? I can't stop her.
Nobody stops her. She kills everybody. Sammy Claus Chaos. That's amazing. I love that so much.
I can't stop her from doing anything. She can do whatever the hell she wants. At any point, anywhere, it's Sammy Chaos.
That's so good.
I don't want to go one-on-one with Sammy Chaos.
No, you make the match and get the hell out.
Yeah.
So good. I love that. If that doesn't happen next year, Sammy Claus Chaos, I'm boycotting PPW for at least 2 months.
Oh no.
No. Oh no. Fuck you. You're right.
He said, "Oh no."
Yeah, but so much good stuff. I can't wait for people to check out not only the PPW. If you want to support, go check out PPW, High Tension Wrestling, or New Era Wrestling, which we are all a part of.
Back in February, right?
Yeah, we'll be back in February. Actually, what I'm going to do for the channel is I'm going to put below a PPW tab for like a BP stuff. So you'll have Lily's stuff, and then we'll put, like, because you don't really have a social media or anything to really plug or like a thing. So I'll put PPW below in our channels you should follow.
Pretty much everywhere it's PPW Entertainment. Keep an eye out on the YouTube. The YouTube is going to be my next project to kind of. I always
you know what I do now. For you, this would be a fucking nightmare. Just saying. I can get away with it where I'm at because it's a brand new company and I'm not that deep in. But I'm making playlists for everyone on the roster. I know we do it at High Tension and we do it at Smash as well. They do it at Smash as well. Yeah, if like say Luca Mancini, and then you click Luca, and every match Luca has been in is like highlighted in that playlist. But PPW's been around for what 10 years now. So
11 years.
F that.
Yeah, no. And I am also putting together weekly TV, so that's taking up a lot of my bandwidth.
Yeah.
But if you're local,
do you go through all 11 years of PPW to make TV, or do you do recent stuff?
I'm doing more recent stuff because we're trying to tell stories. The idea is, hey, people see the TV, they like the stories, they come see the shows.
Love it.
So if you are local to Northeast Pennsylvania, if you get the TV network WYLN out of Hazleton, Pennsylvania, it's a small local TV station, the kind of station that shows like high school football and local community events and things like that. But every Saturday at 5 p.m. and every Sunday at 10 p.m., PPW High Voltage for an hour.
New Era is doing something very similar to that too. We're just not WYLN. It'll just be on YouTube, where we're going to be doing like a thing that's going to be showcasing stories as well.
Yeah,
isolating matches that are already there, but kind of having a little Saturday night main event feel. Maybe myself and Lilly will be hosting.
Oh, nice.
New Era Overdrive. But all right, that's enough local wrestling talk. Anything going on?
Time to go to war.
Time to go to war. Anything going on in the local scene that are not local? I mean, the TV scene that you're pumped about. I know we're coming up. I think that the lines have been drawn. I don't think we officially have our 5-on-5 yet for war games, but
we do for the women's war games.
Yeah, Rhea makes her return with her mask on.
Well, I had a feeling that was coming because they did it with Undertaker, but his was a little more spooky. They did it way back when with like Virgil. It's
Cody.
They basically
Cody.
Exact man.
I forgot about Cody. Yeah, the undashing Cody Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
So that
someone recently did it too.
It was JC Jane, wasn't it, on NXT?
JC Jane did it, but did Alexa Bliss do it for a little bit?
She may have had a face shift. Yeah, anytime you break your orbital bone, you have to do it.
Yeah, Carmella, that's who it was.
Yeah,
because Carmella had it like bedazzled.
Yes, the studded face mask. Yeah,
it was awesome.
I know she's doing more important things. She's being a mom, but I miss Carmella.
I miss Carmella. She was so fucking good. I loved FABOLOU.
That's the haven't seen Carmella.
Did I fuck it up? I'm sorry.
No. You did it right, but they spell it wrong in the song.
Oh, do they? Oh,
yeah.
Lily hasn't experienced Carmella yet. Wait till she gets there. Carmella's a gem.
Carmella's money.
Carmella is money.
Isn't she the one who's married to Corey Graves?
Yes.
I have experienced her a little bit. I watched the Royal Rumble she was in.
Yeah. You'll see you've seen like a Rumble spot and stuff, but like as a character and seeing her weekly, I think if you like Tiffany, you'll love. I feel like you'll love Carmella. Tiffany's doing really well too.
Tiffany's doing great. I think Tiffany. I was gonna say like the character work, Carmella's maybe a little ahead, but Tiffany's character work is great too.
Yeah,
and Tiffany's I think a bit ahead in the ring.
Yeah, I agree.
She's gonna be.
Carmella has one of the best super kicks though. She throws a good super kick.
Yeah,
really good super kick.
And her dad was a wrestler. Her dad was he did some enhancement matches in the 90s. Paul Van Dale.
Yeah. Yeah, in the chat they're saying Undashing Rhea Ripley and Carmella with the Alex are one and only Twitch follower, and then we got Matthew Holland in the chat hanging out. Iggy Hunter. I don't know why I said it backwards. Dyslexia super kicked in there. Courtney in the chat. And we got a lot of people. Raz is here hanging out. Thank you all so for letting us know you're here. The MTU2 champion. Not sure who that is, but welcome. What's going on, brother? But a lot of cool stuff. Anything else with the Twitch guard, my Twitch guard over here, Alex? What's so anything else TV wise or anything going on? I know tomorrow we will be at AEW. Yep.
We will be at Dynamite, the final Dynamite before Full Gear. Full Gear is this weekend in Newark, but before that, no, that's a little far away. But before that, they are doing Dynamite, the Go Home Dynamite in Reading, which is quite a bit closer in is it still a Santander Arena, I believe?
Santander, or however you say it.
But yeah, so that should be a fun show. Usually they do try to pull out all the stops for the show right before a pay-per-view, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been to a go home show. Actually, I lied. I was at the Go Home show, the SmackDown 900 or 1000 or whatever it was, when the Go Home for Survivor Series, when the Undertaker gave like the words of wisdom to Team SmackDown.
I've never been to a Go Home show. I was at a Raw after the Royal Rumble. It's
Go Home show is the show right before a pay-per-view.
Oh, okay.
And they usually go hard. Yeah.
Yeah, you're doing like your final sales pitch for the pay-per-view. I was at the Raw after the 2000 Royal Rumble, the night like Taz debuted and everything, and then this wasn't a Go Home show, but I was at the Raw that broke Nitro's 83-week streak.
It was you. You did it.
I did it, yeah. Well, I guess I had a Nielsen box and I didn't have Nitro on because I was at Raw, so that was the tipping point.
Oh, so I'm looking at AEW's website to see if like the card, and the first thing that says is the new Tony Storm action figure is now available. So it's the entire black and white figure.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
I know they already announced Orange Cassidy against Wheeler Yuta.
Wheeler Yuta, that's gonna be sick. That's gonna be
Claudio against Darby Allin it was announced. I think they may have announced I think they announced an 8-man tag, and oh boy, the Costco guy is gonna be there.
Booing him. I'm booing him.
No, boom. It's boom, not boo.
No, I'm booing him.
Chris Statlander and Hikaru Shida.
Ooh, that should be a good one.
Yeah.
And then Hechicero, Atlantis Jr., and Mascara Dorada will be in action.
Oh, I love Mascara Dorada. That is the former Grand Metalik.
Yeah. Yep. It's one of our former Lucha House Party boys.
Yeah. Team with the only guy from that faction I didn't work with, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
I have worked with Kalisto or Samurai Del Sol before.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into our topic here. Oh, who's this guy? Is he yawning? Is he coming up here yawning on our thing, saying we're boring? This Alex Watt? That's why I kicked him in the face, that fucking jabroni.
Horrible.
Kicked him right in his face.
Horrible.
Kayfabe wise, I missed by a fucking mile. Actually, I hit him in the shoulder, but I missed on the camera. But we have angles. Actually, the High Tension Wrestling show, not really our show, it's one of Alex's shows, but I was there. I kicked him in the face. You can go watch it. Is now available on Premier Access only. So head over to High Tension Wrestling's website.
Very cool.
You go watch WHW, the Backyard Deathmatch Show, which if you're into Death Wrestling, go check it out. It is unbelievable. It's crazy.
And that's on YouTube, HTW Network on YouTube.
I would go to the website because I think the Deathmatch Show. I'm dumb right now.
Watt Hardcore Wrestling.
WHW is, I think, is a Patreon thing. It's behind a paywall because they can't really post it because it's like the deathmatch stuff. But yeah, it was really, really fun. So go check that out. I think it's like $5 to watch it. So if you want to go support it, it's all it costs. All right, BP, let's get into it. The history.
If you want to share it, Alex just shared it in the WHWuncensored.com.
There it is.
So does that mean that two guys wrestled in the back of a moving flatbed truck?
No, not yet. We're working on it.
Okay, you haven't done the King of the Road match yet.
Not yet. It's coming.
I would definitely avoid doing that in Jersey. I know
there was someone hit by a car.
Oh, that tends to happen in deathmatch now.
Yeah, they were hit by a car. There was vehicular manslaughter on the
died?
show.
He died?
He didn't die. Almost died.
Attempted vehicular manslaughter.
Yeah. You want to know who was driving?
Who was that?
Riley Crow.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Got behind the wheel of a car and ran somebody. Actually, it might have been Angel Metro.
I feel like they both did at one
did they?
Time
yeah, they ran somebody over. It was crazy.
Wrestling and Demolition Derby slowly coming together.
Yeah. But all right, let's get into the history of war games. I'll put the flyer up real quick that I got to make. But I threw some ones in there. I put Old School Sting. I put Dusty, who this is essentially Dusty created this whole thing. This was his idea. And
my baby.
His muscles of the thing, I put LOD because they have a lot of appearances in war game style matches. And essentially who this match was created for, Dusty, is the Four Horsemen over here. Those guys held, this whole style of thing was created for them, which we'll get into. And then I put the two most appearing women in war games in WWE side of things with Io and Rhea. Io and
They're gonna be
Rhea
on the
have to
same
be in it
team.
so much that they shoehorn him into this year's. Io just standing there randomly, like, yeah, I'm on the good guys team, even though I've been a heel for a month because I need to be in War Games to keep my streak going. And then the male side of things,
have turned Damage Control babyface.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
I didn't know that. I haven't been
I
watching.
believe they.
Yeah, and then over on the guys' side, when this War Games kind of came back and it reestablished in NXT, the guys really holding the lantern over there was the Undisputed Era. With
they did a great job.
I think right now, if Sammy in this one is in this War Games, I think he may be tied or ahead of Adam Cole with appearances over at 5.
Yeah, well, it seems like he most definitely will be in this War Games.
Yeah,
it seems very likely. It's just who is that? Now it seems like that fifth guy might be Rollins.
Yeah, I think it'll be Bronson.
Yeah, because if Bronson Reed's on the other side, because they kind of
I'm with it. Bronson Reed in a I love Bronson Reed.
Oh, he's great.
He's tsunami off the top. Could you imagine?
Go through the ring, jeez. So the thing you got to understand about Dusty Rhodes is, as much as he's this kind of beacon of old school wrestling, I got my American Dream shirt on right now. The American Dream, son of a plumber. It's funny you can represent PPW today, but I can't. It's very funny. Paul's gonna yell at me now. So
he doesn't watch this.
No, not a chance. So the thing with Dusty is he's a lot more like Vince McMahon than people think. In so much as Dusty always had those dreams of being bigger than wrestling. Dusty Rhodes did not want to be Luthez or Harley Race or some. Dusty Rhodes wanted to be John Wayne. Dusty Rhodes wanted to be a movie star. And a lot of his ideas were ripped right from the movies. And the inspiration for War Games is Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. That movie has inspired so much in wrestling. The Road Warriors, Demolition, like a million different things. But Dusty, there's this old
carrying cross for a minute.
Yeah. There's this whole thing of Dusty just being super, super, super motivated by film and by
I almost asked the question. And as I was about to ask it and interrupt you, even though I'm doing it anyway, I realized, like, if you know the answer to this, that's crazy. But what do you think came first, like in the gay community, the Leather Daddies or Mad Max? Was Mad Max pulled from Leather Daddies or Leather Daddies pulled from Mad Max?
I want to say Leather Daddies came first because of at least the Village People. Because I think the Village People predates Mad Max.
Really?
I think so. Like, I'm pretty sure Mad Max came out in the late 70s and the Village People were all around. I could be wrong on this. I could be very wrong. This is well outside of my area of expertise.
I love when I talk to drag queens or people in the gay community who don't watch wrestling, and I'm like, wrestlers had leather daddies, and they're like, get the fuck. I'm like, look up Legion of Doom.
Look up Demolition.
I'm sorry, Demolition. I said look up Demolition.
Yeah.
And they're like, they're a lot funnier because they're wearing trunks and not pants.
Yeah.
And then they're like, they put that on TV. I'm like, and nobody knew.
I mean, look up older LOD. Look up pre-spiky shoulder pads face paint LOD. They were the biker from the Village People.
Yeah,
that's how they dressed. So yeah, if I had to guess, I think that's a chronology. I think that the leather stuff came before the Mad Max stuff.
We only had
somebody
back here with a tablet or something or a phone that we can search it.
So
the whole thing we just talked about.
I'm still at Mad Max. I'm sorry.
Lily's on a delay. She's about 4 minutes behind.
I'm remember which Mad Max he just said, and then you went off
Beyond
on
Thunderdome.
A tangent.
This is Beyond Thunderdome.
You went off on a tangent about something completely different, and I was like, just stuck at like, what did he say? Which one was it?
I may be high. This may be a Blazing Buds appearance.
The narrative of the whole thing is like, with the Thunderdome, the connection that's really made here is the whole 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. And this is more 2 teams enter, 1 team leaves. To that point, like, the whole idea was, and you also have the 4 horsemen. The 4 horsemen are at their peak. And at this point, they've already kind of moved past Ole Anderson, Lex Luger's in there, and later Barry Windham's in there. But it's still like, how do you get all 4 of the horsemen in one match and make it a spectacle? Well, here's how you do it. We're gonna throw JJ Dillon in there too. So we're gonna have a cage match, but it's gonna be a cage across 2 rings side by side, and we're gonna put a roof over the top of it, and people are gonna come in intervals, and the heels are always gonna win the coin toss because JJ Dillon has never lost a coin toss in his damn life. He's the best. He's the master of the coin toss. JJ Dillon. He knows. He had to have a double-sided coin. They never like. That's how I knew Vince Russo was a horrible booker, by the way. Like, Vince Russo had the baby faces win the coin toss in a War Games. What? You can't do that. You can't do that. So the big thing there was it's going to be
and Lilly. Sorry.
What?
The comment said the one and only ABJ and BP. How y'all doing? And I said, and Lilly.
Oh, thank you.
So it's going to be the 2 biggest teams, the Horsemen, the biggest group of heels we got, and JJ Dillon against their big nemesis, the superpowers, Dusty Rhodes and Nikita Koloff, the Road Warriors, and Paul Ellering's going to jump in there too. Ellering, he did have some injuries that prevented him from wrestling. I think he had like blood clots or something, or I remember thinking of Jesse Ventura. I know Jesse Ventura retired because of blood clots, but Ellering is a better manager than a wrestler anyway. So the whole idea is we're going to use this as the centerpiece of the Great American Bash. And we think of the Great American Bash now like it's an NXT premium live event. And for a while, it was like a WWE pay-per-view too. But when it first was conceived of in 1987, the summer of 1987, Jim Crockett Promotions wasn't doing pay-per-view yet. The only company really doing pay-per-view was WWF. And they're hot off of WrestleMania 3. Jim Crockett Promotions would finally jump in the pay-per-view with Starrcade at the end of 87. But for here, the original Great American Bash wasn't a show, it was a tour. And they would have shows throughout this, like a lot of stadium shows, outdoor shows, big venue shows. I think they did Veterans Stadium in Philly. And the first War Games match, the first one is actually in the Omni in Atlanta, and the second one is at the Orange Bowl in Miami. And these are the 2 that of this first tour that are on video. I still remember the first time I ever saw the War Games. It was we had a neighbor across the street. He was a VFW buddy of my dad's. They were in the VFW together, and he knew I was a big wrestling nut. But he was like, it was one of those, hey, I got the real stuff. Because I'm watching WWF, like, no, you got to see this. And I watched a little bit of like WCW on TV, but this is like blood and barbed wire matches and stuff like that. And it's a compilation of the 1987 Great American Bash. There's like matches from like all over the place, but it begins and ends this tape with the first and the second War Games. And that first War Games is brutal. The whole idea.
Was it the first time too where they had the cage above the ring and lowered it down instead of building it? Like, because they said back in the day when they would do steel cage matches, they would just bring it out at like an intermission or when the crowd and they build it. I don't crowd.
Yeah, I don't even know if they did that. I don't know how they could have done that back then at the Orange Bowl. It was outdoors. I think they just built it in front of the crowd. Like,
oh, interesting.
That was how they did cage matches when I started going there. Like literally the first wrestling show I ever went to had a cage match. Like the main event was Savage and DiBiase in a cage. Like house shows all the time, they would just build the cage right in front of you. Yeah. And usually they would either do the cage match right before intermission so they could take it down after, or it would be the last match and just take a pause to build the cage. I remember I went to a WWF house show in 93 and they did a cage match with Brett and Shawn. And literally I had seats on the floors at the Spectrum, and we were like one of like the second or third rows back on the floor, like one of the very last rows, and right behind us were the pieces of the cage, which was so cool. Like that historic like blue cage you think of with like Hogan and
big thick blue bars.
Yeah, it was right behind me. It was right behind me. It was like eight pieces you would join together.
Do you know what I'm thinking? The first time I ever watched a steel cage be like built around a ring was at AXW for the very last.
That was my first and only cage match I've ever seen live too.
You were at those CFU shows, were you?
Yeah, but I mean like a steel cage wrestling style.
Yeah,
like, that was more like built like an octagon style cage.
Yeah,
but like an actual like I've never like that. So I've done.
I helped put together that cage.
I done a
a ish version of a coffin match. It didn't count. It wasn't a real coffin. I won't count it. I've done. I don't think I've ever done a lumberjack match. I did a steel. I've done ladders. I've done tables matches, hardcore matches, death matches, and a cage match was, the end of the Hamburg Fieldhouse.
Yeah,
allegedly.
Not anymore. No, that's official. Not anymore. Not anymore. They're going back. Yeah,
they're not gonna have any chairs.
If I come in, they'll be like, "Your chair, please." You took one.
We actually don't have a show. We're collecting.
Yeah,
you're all going to jail. It's like when they told all the Washington fans are getting free tickets and put them all in jail.
Yeah, because they all had like warrants out on them. Yeah.
You know what we're talking about?
Yeah, no, I know
exactly what you're talking about.
So real quick, side ADHD side tangent. I know you're here for wrestling, but the old school Washington football team, formerly the Redskins, did a contest, but it was actually ran by the DC Virginia police, where they found everyone who had outstanding warrants or had to go to jail or missed court appearances, child support, whatever it may be. They sent them all letters in the mail saying that you have won free tickets to a Washington game. Please show up at the convention center to pick up your tickets. And they pull up, and there's balloons, there's Washington cheerleaders, everyone's partying, and the mascots are there. I don't think players were there, but it looked like a full-blown production, and every single person there was an undercover police officer, and they would bring them up and wait. They would show up, show their ID, verify it was them, and they would have color systems like, oh, he's an orange, so put him in the orange section, and or the burgundy section, and it was ranked by if they were violent or not, if they're cheerleaders are hugging them and they think they're cheerleaders. They're cops, and they're patting them down to make sure they have no weapons on them, but they're disguised as cheerleaders.
This is wild.
They put them all into a room, and they're like, are you guys ready to go to the game? And they're like, yeah. And then the room, all the doors open, and cops come in with guns and get on the ground and put them in buses, and we're hauling them to jail in their full Washington gear. And they're like, so that means we're not going to the game?
No, you're not going to the game.
Yeah, legit happened.
You may get to see Michael Vick.
Yeah. That's hilarious. So that's a real thing. Yeah.
Yeah. That was wild.
I mean, they were Washington fans.
How dare you? First off.
Look, go ahead. Say you never had to build the jail in the stadium. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I know you want to.
we do fans outside of the stadium. You could have just brought them in and locked the doors and put them in the cells,
What do you need a bus for? Just put a jail in the stadium. It's easy.
And a judge and everything. You just book them and process them.
Old Judge Seamus. That was literally the judge's name, Seamus McCaffrey.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Seamus and pro wrestling, let's get back to War Games.
I one last thing there is you could have done that back in the 90s with Dallas and arrested the team.
Yeah, very true.
So the whole thing is set up, and that first War Games is brutal. Paul Ellering has a spiked glove, part of the Road Warriors ring gear, and he just keeps hitting JJ Dillon with it. He's a bloody mess because the rules of War Games. First of all, it was War Games and the match beyond. So the War Games,
these rules back. I think these rules are way better.
So the whole idea was they're coming out they come in waves. The first two people, they're going to wrestle for 5 minutes, and every 2 minutes, a member from each team comes in alternating teams, and the whole thing was the heel would always win the coin toss because then it was 2-on-1. It starts off with Arn Anderson and Nikita Koloff, and Nikita's going to get that shine on Arn Anderson, and then Lex Luger comes in, and it's 2-on-1 on Nikita until Dusty comes in and clears house, and then here comes Barry Windham, and now it's 3-on-2. It's 3-on-2, and so on and so forth until you get to the end. But the whole thing was the War Games could never end. Not that you would do it, but a War Games could not end until everybody was in. That's when the match beyond would begin. And the old rules, there were no pins. And they never really said which was which. It was always submission or surrender, but I don't know what exactly surrender was supposed to be. I guess if you gave up on behalf. Well, that's submission.
Yeah, you. So essentially, I think the way he thought of it with war, like it's like when then the other person waves the flag, like we just can't.
Yeah, and that is actually what it is. It's I guess if somebody submits on your behalf, even though they're not the one being,
or you legit knock out your opponent.
Well, yeah, well, Sid was a special case. That is, by the way, that is to this day it's gonna be forever because they don't do them. It's not around anymore. That is my favorite WCW match. That 91 War Games that you're talking about is my favorite WCW match. It is so good. Brian Pillman is so good in that match
until
the very end, and then he's not even conscious and almost died. But yeah, so that first tour they did a bunch of them. They do it again in 1988, and that is where they were, again, just kind of doing these as associated with the Great American Bash. In 1989, they don't really do it as they do a tour, but by 89, Dusty's gone. Dusty's in WWF. So at that point, it winds up being like the Midnights. The Midnights are baby faces, or no, the Midnights, the Road Warriors, and Dr. Death against the Freebirds with Terry Gordy and the Samoans. So you had a War Games match with two of the Samoans, Terry Gordy, Dr. Death, Steve Williams. What a crazy match that was. That is an all-time great pay-per-view to the 89 Great American Bash. But then they take a little break. They don't do War Games in 1990, but in 1991, they're kind of toning down the Great American Bash tour, and they are now really emphasizing a pay-per-view called Wrestle War. They are they're doing it more in February, and Wrestle War is going to have the War Games, and that's when you have that match that you're talking about. They wind up running it back, and Dusty's back in the loop here at this point because War Games kind of got de-emphasized when Dusty was gone because they don't know how to do my baby. Only I know how to do the Wall Games. So the whole thing, it's Sting, the Steiners, and Brian Pillman against the Horsemen. Although, and I always thought this would be a good fit. Arn Anderson was.
Wait, what show is this you're talking about? What year?
Wrestle War 91.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah, Dusty's not in the match. Dusty's not going to be in the match again for a few years. But this is where this is kind of the revival of War Games. It hasn't really been around in about 2 years. So this is the big comeback. The Horsemen are back in it. It's the main event of the show. It wasn't the main event of the show in 1989. And Arn Anderson's hurt, and a guy who would have made a really good Horseman, Larry Zbyszko, takes his place. And that's the one where you say, like, the whole angle coming into it is Brian Pillman is coming in hurt. His ribs are all taped up, his shoulders all taped up, and Sting the Steiners and Pillman are all kind of discussing who's going to go in first. But Brian Pillman got so much courage and so much heart. He jumps in the ring before they can make a call, and he volunteers to go first. And this match is just Brian Pillman getting pummeled, just selling for everybody. He's doing his best Ricky Morton impression. He is just taking all the punishment. And then to the point where, like you said, eventually Sid goes to power bomb him, but there's a roof on the cage, and it's not a super tall cage. Like a lot of times people like grab onto the top and swing and do drop kicks and stuff. So Pillman bumps into the top of the cage, and Sid just kind of loses control and brings him right down on his head and legitimately knocks him out. Like he is out. Like, and that is like the time that War Games.
No, then he picks him back up.
Yeah,
and says, "Oh, it didn't look good the first time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna scoop him back up and powerbomb him again, and even do it worse than the first time."
Yeah.
Yikes!
Yeah, it was.
Here's a quick question: do you think Sid doing that,
tough one,
and doing what he did, do you think that receipt later on came when he snapped his leg and they ran out and beat him up?
I don't think Brian Pillman had to do that because by that point Brian Pillman was dead.
Yeah, but I mean, like, do you think the boys were like, "Yo, remember when he almost killed Brian in the ring and then picked him up and powerbombed him again?"
No, I don't think they said 8 years later, "This is for 1991, motherfucker." Yeah, I don't think that was happening.
Listen, if there's anyone who's petty, it's wrestlers. I'd believe it.
I don't even know who. Like, I don't even think the wrestlers. Well, I guess Scott Steiner was in that match. Yeah. So yeah, I highly doubt that. I highly doubt that.
Yeah, me too. I'm just throwing it out there.
If anything, they got into a fight. I think it was later. They got into a fight at one point, and Sid went to find a weapon to fight Brian Pillman with, and he came back with a squeegee. And yeah, as a matter of fact, now that I think this out, there are far worse things that Sid has done to people who were there that night. I think Arn Anderson would have had
he made it out well. Yeah, I think everyone else wishes he would have used squeegee one time too.
Yeah. I think Arn Anderson would have had a bigger axe to grind with Sid than Pillman.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that. So that takes us to 1992, and the Dangerous Alliance is in full swing because Flair is gone now. Flair's in the WWF. But you have
when they do these tours, are all these matches like available to watch? Like the Great American Bash tours?
So no, they were not. I know those first two War Games in '87. The one is the Road Warriors, Nikita, Dusty, and Ellering against the Horse, Flair, Arn, Luger, Blanchard, and Dylan. That one is around. And there's the other one in '87 from the Orange Bowl, where Dylan's not in the match, and it's the War Machine, who was the big boss man in the mask.
Because these tours were like a big thing. Like I'm looking at it now, and like a lot of War Games matches were done on the tour, and then even after 91 had a tour where they did another 4 War Games.
That's where all those one-man gang matches we talked about last week happened.
That's where one-man gang sneaks in.
I don't believe that. I'm pretty sure that most of those were not televised. They were just house show matches. Yeah, they didn't film everything back then. Like TV in '87, that first tour, because they didn't even do pay-per-view yet at that point. TV was there to get you to come to the live show. It was, if you like this, you're gonna love when the War Games comes, the Great American Bash comes to your town. And I know for some of those Great American Bash things, they were co-promoted with like concerts and stuff. Like I think it's like, yeah, come on down to the Orange Bowl. You're gonna see NWA Wrestling and the Oak Ridge Boys. I think they literally
it was Body Slam.
It was Body Slam with like Southern Rock. Yeah, it was Dusty was M. Harry Smilac all over the place here. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure one of them was the Oak Ridge Boys. That's not even a joke. Well, they did that with one of the shows later in Sturgis when they were doing Road Wild, because Bischoff was a big motorcycle guy. I think one of the Sturgis shows, it was like it might have been the one that Jay Leno wrestled on. So it was one of those Road Wild shows. It was like, okay, we're gonna do the wrestling, and then there's gonna be a Travis Tritt concert after the wrestling.
Travis, I haven't heard that name forever.
So yeah, so 91 is kind of the end of the Great American Bash as a tour, and that's when you get a lot of those. The Diamond Stud, Kevin Sullivan, Matt, the Yellow Dog, which was Pillman, and Wrestle War 92 is when the Dangerous Alliance is in full swing. They're the big heel stable: Rick Rude, Steve Austin, Larry Zbyszko, Arn Anderson, Bobby Eaton, Paulie Dangerously as their manager, Paul Heyman, of course. And back when Sting would feud with the Horsemen, they would always have the Dudes with Attitude. Sting had that name before Shawn Michaels and Diesel did. But at this point, it's Sting Squadron. And this is one of the last big matches for Nikita Koloff. And it's Nikita, Sting, Dustin, Ricky Steamboat, and Wyndham. This is another amazing match. This is a top 5 WCW match for me. And some people like this better than the 91 War Games. I just think 91 told a better story. And the way they get this one is Zbyszko submits. They like wind up taking the turnbuckle off. And I think they're like attacking Zbyszko with the turnbuckle or something. And that's how you get the submission in this one. But this is that was also the end of Wrestle War. Like Wrestle War was the last Wrestle War was in 92, and then it got replaced with Super Brawl.
Did last year's War Game end in a quit? No, that was AEW's War Games ish.
Yeah,
match.
The Blood and Guts. Yeah,
Blood and Guts. When someone said I quit, and then if they quit, Darby would have lit them on fire.
Yeah.
Jack Perry. Yeah.
So bad.
I like the fact that they brought back like it has to be a
I like that, but I'm gonna light you on fire. Come on.
Yeah, would you quit or would you get? Honestly, it would suck, right? Obviously, being lit on fire.
Oh yes, getting lit on fire would suck. Yeah,
would be the worst way to die. But like, how sick would it be if you're just like, live TV. Like, it's just pretend wrestling is real. I'm sorry, everyone. Santa Claus is, the whole nine. But imagine if like it's a real thing and you're just like, you know what? Fuck it. Light me, bitch. Like, like that's your last words on public television is like, light me on fire, pussy. I don't give a fuck. Like you go down in history as the most gangster dude of all time.
And incredibly stupid.
Yeah, he didn't quit. He
died, but he didn't quit.
He died. He's dead. But he went out. That's like Tupac's telling the cops, go fuck yourself. After he's dying, they're like, who shot you? We can solve this crime. He's like, F you. Like, you're what?
Yeah. That's an approach. That's an approach.
I would do it.
Sure. Go for it. There's that coming soon, the new era of pro wrestling. ABJ self-immolation.
First off, I'm not gonna let you put me there, but if you get me there and you threaten me with it, do it. Because if you don't, you're gonna wish you lit me on fire.
This is just making me think. I watched The Penguin over the weekend. This is making me think of The Penguin.
Oh, is it any good?
Oh, I loved it. It was incredible.
I have to check it out.
So 93, the War Game switches to what becomes its long-term home at this point in the 90s, Fall Brawl, which is a brand new pay-per-view. And the war, it's usually built around the War Games. And the first one, the big feud here is it's the new dudes with attitudes, which is Sting and Davey Boy Smith, the British Bulldog, and the masters of the power bomb, Sid and Vader, with Harley Race and our favorite Colonel Rob Parker was in this one.
First off, how dare you just completely leave out the best member of the team?
Well, we haven't talked about those are the captains of the team, and then on the babyface side, along with Sting and Davey Boy, you are going to get. It's weird because the initial, it was always seemingly going to be Sting, Davey Boy, and Dustin Rhodes. And then there was even like print ads where the fourth guy was Road Warrior Hawk. But then on a Flair for the Gold, Ric Flair's interview segment, they reveal their real fourth man who busts through the wall and his helmet falls off because he trips over a board. With you know who did the voice of the Shockmaster, right?
JJ Dillon.
No, it was Ole Anderson.
Oh, Ole. Sorry, yeah, Ole. We talked about on the Ole episode, yeah.
Who was also the voice of the Black Scorpion. Sting.
Yeah. Sting. Doesn't he actually break and like off camera, but you still hear he goes, what the hell?
I think you may hear Davey Boy say that. Or something like that. I think you hear somebody says that.
How they all didn't break though is a miracle.
But on the other side was Kane.
Kane, yeah.
And Cole. It's got to be Kane. Of course, this Kane is Stevie Ray, not Glenn Jacobs. But before they were Booker T and Stevie Ray, they were Kane and Cole. Do you know the original idea for Harlem Heat?
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah, because they were managed by Colonel Parker, and they were he was the old Southern plantation owner, and they were gonna come out in chains. That was. And thankfully, Harlem Heat was a little bit of a better idea. Even though we're going to say these two guys who are from Texas are from 110th Street in Harlem, still a better idea.
Yeah, than walking out with a white dude and two dudes with chains.
A white Southern boss hog looking, plantation owner looking guy. Yeah. Horrible idea. So that one goes in the babyface's way. And then in 1994, the original is going to be back, baby. And this was actually a very well booked thing where Dustin Rhodes is feuding with Colonel Parker and his stud stable. Bunkhouse Buck is involved, and Terry Funk winds up joining forces with Bunkhouse Buck, and Dustin Rhodes is gonna join forces with that dangerous Arn Anderson, the guy who slit his mother's throat for a nickel, and lo and behold, Arn Anderson turns on him. And this is where you get that great Dusty promo, the one that Cody says is his favorite promo his dad ever did about how if you keep following behind, the view never changes. That's a lead up to this Fall Brawl. And so they need two people for Dusty and Dustin to team with, because the other side is going to be Colonel Parker, who rarely wrestled, but he was a wrestler, and a tripping hazard as well. So. Remember that Colonel Parker picture?
Yeah, thing is crazy. That's out of control.
So So you had Colonel Parker, Bunkhouse Buck, Terry Funk, and Arn Anderson against the Rhodes Boys, and they wind up turning the Nasty Boys, which makes sense because Jerry Sags is married to, I believe, Dusty's sister.
Yeah.
So he was Dustin's uncle, and I believe, not I believe, I also know that, yeah, Ming, because Ming was Colonel Parker's bodyguard, and if we go back to the year before, also Dusty's brother-in-law, Uncle Fred the Shockmaster. Then in 1995, we get the most one-sided war games in history.
Also 95. This is where I learned a little WCW history because I was going back and rewatching every Monday night. Right now, this is what I was doing. I did it for 2 months, and then I stopped because it was too much. It was annoying because it's like on Peacock, I would want to go on and be like Monday Night Nitro, and I click it, and it just program it to have a playlist. So Nitro goes Nitro, pay-per-view, Nitro night. Like you have to back out, then go find the pay-per-view, then search for everything. Like we can't just put it in chronological order. So you would think, like, that would just be so much easier. Like, why is that not a thing? WWE Network, Peacock, fix it when you move over to your new thing, which you all know you're gonna do. Make that a thing. That'd be sick. I want that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I did it for a while. But this is the first war games where now there's a TV buildup and they can use the television, weekly television of Monday Night Nitro.
They can use they had TV, they just didn't have Nitro.
Yeah, well, this is like the beginning of Nitro. Because I remember when I first turned to Nitro, I think either the Nitro leading up to this or the Nitro after is after this pay-per-view. Like this is like 2 episodes of Nitro and then it goes to the pay-per-view.
Yeah, this is the first Nitro. This is the first pay-per-view after Nitro becomes a thing.
Yeah.
Nitro started shortly after Bash at the Beach. I think there was a Clash of the Champ. No, because it was September. So yeah, this was the first pay-per-view. Yeah, Nitro started September, like the first week of September of 1995, and Fall Brawl happened in September. So this is the first one. In fact,
18th, so it's early.
Yeah. So you're I think your time is exactly right on that. 2 Nitros and then this. In fact, because the original team was going to be, and what a one-sided thing. So the heel team, the Dungeon of Doom team, is Kamala.
September 17th, one day off. I was looking at the year before.
It's Kamala, the Zodiac, who was Brutus Beefcake, the Shark, who was Earthquake, and Ming against Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, Lex Luger, and Sting, like 4 Hall of Famers.
It's like the dream team playing Uganda in basketball. Like there's no shot. Jordan and his squad is killing the whole world in basketball.
And Luger was a late addition. It was supposed to be Vader. They had just turned Vader babyface. But a few weeks before this is when Vader had his backstage fight with Paul Orndorff and got fired.
And so Savage does not trust Lex.
No, nobody did.
Him. Yeah.
Well, that was the whole thing, and this was actually an interesting angle. The whole thing with Luger was like Sting. He was buddies with Sting, but everybody else didn't trust him, and he just turned out to be a jackass anyway. And he wasn't trustworthy, which was a really fun way to do that.
Yeah,
it was a really fun way to do that.
Once again, Sting's not great. I keep telling everybody,
Sting is.
I don't want to listen. He's awful. He trusts that no good lying, backstabbing, dickhead Lex Luger.
Look, nobody had more friends turn on him than Hogan.
Yeah.
How many times did people turn on Hogan? And good, they were right
because he sucked. Yeah, they were all right.
By the time speaking of that, by the time we get to 1996, we have the NWO, and this is the infamous Sting has joined the NWO, but it wasn't really Sting; it was the fake Sting. They did tend to have at this stage really good angles leading in the War Games. 1998 or 1997, you have Arn Anderson had to legit retire due to injuries, and the NWO did this vicious like there was legit heat on this thing, like making fun of Arn Anderson's retirement, just making fun of him being a drunk and all this other stuff. And there was like legit heat. And so then Arn Anderson gives Kurt Hennig his spot in the Horsemen. And of course, he immediately turns on the Horsemen and joins the NWO. And that kicks off a Hennig Flair feud. And then we have that is kind of the end of War Games, the golden era of War Games, I would say. And not so much for that match, but just for the angle, the Kurt Hennig angle. And because I think he's the last guy in, he just slams the door in Flair's head or something. Like they did one of those deals. because by the time we get to 1998, it's a clusterfuck now, and it's a 3-way war games where literally the guy who won only one guy can win, and he forgot. Oh yeah, I have to pin the guy, which also happened at the Doomsday Cage WCW Uncensored in '95. But it's Team WCW, which is DDP, Roddy Piper, and the Ultimate Warrior, who was not even like supposed to be a WCW guy. He was part of the One Warrior Nation. And then you had the NWO Hollywood team of Hollywood Hogan, Bret Hart, and Stevie Ray. And then you had the Wolfpack team of Kevin Nash, Sting, and Lex Luger. And there's
the year before this though, 97 is terrible.
Yeah, it was more about the storyline. Yeah, like X-Pac and
Bagwell, Kevin Nash, Six, Conan versus the Four Horsemen. But this Four Horsemen are Chris Benoit, Mongo, Ric Flair, and Kurt Hennig.
Yeah, that was the Horsemen at that point. Like Arn,
I know, but like Nash, Six, Conan, and Bagwell is what you bring to the table. Yikes.
Yeah, it was more about Nash. It was more about the whole thing was just to set up the Kurt Hennig turn. That was the whole big thing.
Yeah.
It was all about turning Hennig. But yeah, so even at that point, they were running out of steam a little bit. But by 98, they're really running out of steam, and to the point where, DDP remembers I have to beat somebody, so he pins Stevie Ray. That was like the end of War Games for a little bit. Unfortunately, on pay-per-view at least. Then they did War Games 2000. Now we're in full Vince Russo mode. This isn't even the regular War Games cage. They did the triple cage from Ready to Rumble, which they kept trying to use and stuff. And it was teams, but the WCW title was on the line. Kevin Nash was the champion, and you had to go up to the cage at the top, get the title, and walk out the door with it. And like Goldberg was about to do it, but Bret Hart stopped him, and then Nash just picks up the title and walks out. It was bad. It was very, very bad. And then War Games goes away. War Games goes away after that.
Chronic was sick though. I liked Chronic as a tag team.
Until they wrestled The Undertaker and Kane, and they said they don't know how to work. We have to send them to developmental, even though they were both here for years. Even though Crush was in WWF before The Undertaker, they have to go to developmental. It's wild.
Dude, Chronic was that team too that people were so high on and like watching them in Japan and everywhere else. And like, they're gonna be like Chronic had a Japan tour. They did a Japan tour for a little bit. At least when I looked at a line, they had a little bit of time in Japan. But people were super into them. Like I remember, like people were like, "They're gonna be sick." And then like Undertaker versus and Kane versus Chronic, that's gonna be sick. And then it happened, and it was like, what?
They did seem to have some momentum behind them. Even in the late days of WCW when nothing had momentum behind it, like Chronic did for a little while as a comedy character. Norman Smiley did. I loved. Have you ever seen Screaming Norman Smiley?
No.
You will love it. You have to. I will send you some Screaming Norman Smiley matches.
Is it as good as is it as good as Conan? Not Conan.
Conan
hitting. Canyon hitting people with a diamond cutter in the most random spots of the show.
First of all, nothing is better than Canyon hitting people with a diamond cutter. Nothing is better than that.
The best one ever is when they're doing a wide shot of the arena and just some random dude's walking down the sidewalk and he runs.
Positively, Canyon was the best thing ever. That is my favorite. That is my favorite stupid gimmick ever. That is dumb wrestling done right. There's bam wrestling and dumb. That is really, really good dumb wrestling. Screaming.
Oh, and you're breaking up
Norman
a little bit.
Smiley. This is when WCW had their hardcore division. And
you might have to back out and come back in. You are frozen.
My computer's very bad.
BP may have to bounce out and bounce back in. He's a little behind, a lot behind. You sound like a robot. I don't know how it's going to translate to the podcast audio. Sorry, guys. But Brian will be right back. But we're now going to be entering into that era of War Games where it is now an NXT pay-per-view. So it'll be the next couple things we'll be talking about here. And I know we're going a little long, but we will wrap it up. If you're watching NXT, I hope you're enjoying. I know most of our audience has already left live stream because they're probably watching people watch. They're watching them watch wrestling. It's cool. Yeah. So I'm sure we'll get our audience back later on, but thank you guys for everyone who does stick around. If you're listening to the audio side, let us know how you think of it by taking a little screenshot, and let us know you're watching it on social media. Tag us ABJ Podcast or I Love ABJ, ABJ Tornado Tag, whatever it may be, or just tag me personally. And we appreciate that kind of love for you guys listening to the audio side, because our audio numbers are not nearly where it used to be. So it'd be cool if we get a little love over there. While BP's gone, I'll kind of just go into the War Games. So War Games NXT. NXT is going to be heavily featured of the Undisputed Era. I believe most of the pay-per-views you're going to get when it comes to the NXT side are going to be the Undisputed Era. First one's going to be Undisputed Era, Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly versus Sanity, which was really cool with Alexander Wolf, Eric Young, Killian Dane, and the Authors of Pain are joining them. So that was a really, really sick War Games. I really enjoyed that one. And then BP is back. So I kind of went through that. Now we're entering 2017 with the beginning.
Forget about War Games. We're talking about Screaming Norman Smiley.
Yeah, but I was kind of advancing the War Games story. But yes, but we're currently at 2018. Now we have Pete Dunne, Ricochet, the War Raiders versus Undisputed Era.
Yeah, Norman Smiley. So
yeah,
so no, you will love Screaming Norman Smiley. So
I'll check it
Norman,
out.
Yeah, he's still a trainer with WWE now. He's been working at the Performance Center forever. So I believe he is. I want to say he might be British. I'm not sure about that, but he is. He wrestled in Mexico a lot as Black Magic. He is a black man. Yeah, he is originally from England. Great. And he would do a whole thing where, first of all, he would do the big wiggle, which he would do that slap thing. And then he would do it behind people, do the he's like riding a horse and slapping its ass thing. And then his original
you are breaking up so bad, BP. I don't know what's going on with your internet tonight.
It's computer's terrible. It's literally like crashing on me once a day. Really? I bought a computer in July, and it's a lemon.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's just finish up War Games here.
Yeah. Did we lose
you?
Oh,
okay. No, I'm here. I'm sorry. I was going to let you keep going. So yeah, revived in NXT, eventually brought into WWE. They've had some really fun ones. The Undisputed Era was really kind of the anchors of the NXT era. Pat McAfee and then they bring it over to when Vince is out of the picture. And they say Vince was always dismissive of doing this idea. Like the closest they would ever come to it was that Elimination Chamber.
Yeah. Well, we also, real quick too, just to kind of give the NXT style a little bit of love. In 2019 is when we're going to get the introduction for most major pay-per-views. At that point in time, we're going to go Women's Rumble, Men's Rumble, but we're also going to do a men's War Game and a Women's War Game. And the first ever Women's War Game is going to be Team Rhea Ripley versus Team Shayna Baszler, which is interesting because that Team Shayna Baszler has Baszler, EO, Bianca Belair, and Kaylee Ray, who's no longer in the company, but
she's there.
So two people who are she is there. She's
Alba Fire.
Sorry. Yeah. But Ripley's gonna have her, Candice, Tegan Knox, and Dakota Kai, which I believe right now Rhea's is teaming with Bianca from the first one and EO.
Yeah.
And I think Candice is on the other team, which is kind of funny that the very first Women's War Game is gonna have.
I want to say that's the War Games where Dakota turned. And it was really well done.
Yeah, she turned on
Tegan.
Candice. Tegan. Yeah, she slams her knee into the.
Yeah, they were Team Kick.
Yes.
Yeah, that was.
And it was that thing too. Like, I'm not sexualizing, but at this point in time, because I remember we talked about this on Tornado Tag. I think Andy was a huge fan. Andy is a sucker for dark hair when the girls go with darker hair. But at this point in time, if I'm not mistaken, Dakota Kai is very like blonde, pink, like bubbly looking character, and she turns heel. And then the next night on NXT, she's straight black hair and like darker looking, and like everyone's like, "Yo, Dakota Kai, look at you go!" Like every time someone turns emo alt, everyone's into it. Every time a girl does it, yeah. But yeah, so from here on out, for the most part, we're gonna get men and women War Games, and then it gets you were saying gets revitalized for the main roster in Boston, Massachusetts in 2022 with War Games on Survivor Series.
Yeah, so that it's always been the Bloodline has been even to this one, the Bloodline has been the centerpiece of the men's war games.
Yeah.
And note, especially this time, because it's Bloodline Black and White against Bloodline Wolfpack in this war games.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is that it's back. And just being able to, like, I didn't get this year's WWE game, but I got 2K24. Just be able to play war games in a video game was wild. That was wild. That was cool. Something. Just because it was something I always look. There was one of the things I look forward to the most in WCW was war games. Like, it is such a unique, inventive match. And
war games and Rumble are probably the two coolest pay-per-views.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Money in the Bank's a good concept, but it's more about what they do with it after the match. It's just a ladder match. But
Elimination Chamber is a lot of fun too.
Yeah, and again, that was the way they sold that, because that was when Bischoff was a GM and he had just come over from WCW. They sold that as this is going to be a combination of war games with the timed entry and Hell in a Cell with the cage can't escape from.
I actually prefer. I think one of my favorite Elimination Chambers is when they did wasn't there a tag team one, or am I thinking of something else?
No, they did. I actually liked in the video games you could have like a 3 versus 3 Elimination Chamber, and that almost felt like a war games.
Yeah,
where you like one team had the advantage for a little bit, but no, they did a tag team Elimination Chamber where it was teams instead of.
Yeah,
I think they did that the one in Philly right before the pandemic.
Yep. So I pulled something up here, which is gonna do. Do you want to do the 10 best war games of all time, or actually we'll do that 10 best war games of all time, and then I have the best to worst WWE war games WWE style. So number 10,
1 war games 1995, the Dream Team. No,
calling your shot. All right.
No. I think I know which one people will say is the best.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess before you say it. I'm gonna guess people think that 1992 was the best.
92? I'm not even looking. When I scroll down, we'll see. All right. So number 10 is going to be WCW Fall Brawl 96, the NWO with Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, Sting, and Scott Hall will take on Team NWO Sting will take on Team WCW Arn Anderson, Lex Luger, Ric Flair, and Sting. And then number 8 is going to be Great American Bash Tour 91, where Sting, Luger, Yellow Dog, and El Gante versus Barry Windham, Nikita Koloff, Kevin Sullivan, and One Man Gang.
Oh, maybe some of them are on TV or were filmed.
Number 8 is going to be the Undisputed Era, Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly versus Sanity. The first NXT War Games is going to be number 7.
Wasn't that a 3-way? It was them against Sanity against like another team?
Authors of Pain.
Authors of Pain and Roddy, right?
Roderick Strong is over on there too. Yeah.
Yeah, that was before Roddy turned. Yeah, that was before Roddy turned.
Number 7 is going to be NWA Great American Bash 1989 Glory Days, Steve Williams, the Midnight Express, and the Road Warriors versus the Fabulous Freebirds and the Samoan SWAT team.
That's a good war games. That's a good war games.
Just the names in that one's really fucking good.
That's just a bunch of tough guys.
Yeah, number 6 is going to be NWA Great American Bash Tour 1998, where the Four Horsemen, Arn Anderson, Barry Windham, J.J. Dillon, and Ric Flair, Tully Blanchard will take on Dusty Rhodes, Lex Luger, Nikita Koloff, Paul Ellering, and Steve Williams. Number 5,
Steve Williams. Oh wow.
Yeah, Steve 5, NWA Great American Bash Tour 1987, Dusty, Koloff, Ellering, and the Road Warriors against the Horsemen and the War Machine.
That is the second War Games. That's the one in the Orange Bowl.
Yep. Number 4 is going to be WCW War Games 92, where Sting Squadron is going to take on the Dangerous Alliance.
I thought that was going to be number 1.
Really?
Maybe their number 1 is my number 1.
Interesting. Number 3 is going to be WCW Wrestle War 1991.
Nope, that's my number 1. Yeah, they're going to pick a WWE one. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Number 2 is going to be WCW Fall Brawl 94. When you said the lineup for this one, I actually think I like this one a lot. And then
Dusty, Colonel Parker, they have a second.
Dusty, Dustin, and the Nasty Boys is a sick team. And then as I'm looking at a screenshot from it,
but Bunkhouse Buck
Dusty's wearing a Nasty Dream shirt.
He's the Nasty Dream. Yeah.
That's amazing. It should be number 1.
It's a fun match, but no, it should be number 3 at the best. 91 and 92 are in a class by themselves.
I don't know what's going on. This is a nightmare. BP's even gone. Both of us got booted.
Oof.
What is going on? What a nightmare. I wonder if BP just thought I got offended and quit the show right then and there. There he is. Did your browser crash? Mine did.
Oh, that's what happened. Okay. I thought I was crashing.
Yeah. My browser crashed. You look amazing now. Your connection is better than ever.
Oh, okay.
That's what it was. We needed a good old crash. But anyway, Nasty Dream is the best. That's a great. I want that T-shirt.
The Nasty Dream, baby. The view never changes, baby.
And number 1. What do you think? Old school or new school?
It's probably WWE.
1987 Great
the
American
original
Bash.
the original War Games. Okay.
Road Warriors, Koloff, Dusty Rhodes, and Paul versus the 4 Horsemen.
And yeah, that's the original War Games. That is a good one. So that one was actually in the Omni in Atlanta on the 4th of July in 1987.
Yep. And then the WWE ones, number 9 is going to be Bloodline versus Brawling Brutes. Number 10 is going to be Raquel versus Rhea. That one's funny because that's where EO dives off in the trash can over her body.
I feel like she's done that in a few of them.
Yeah.
That last year.
Number 8 is going to be Damage Control and versus Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Bianca, and Shotzi. Shotzi looks so out of place, but Shotzi did some cool shit in that match. Number 7 is going to be Undisputed Era versus Pat McAfee. That was a pretty good one. I love Shotzi. Number 6 is going to be Undisputed Era versus the War Riders on Pete Dunne and Ricochet. I remember that was a cool one. That was when Ricochet had his face paint like the War Machine or War Raiders.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Even though now they're stripping that down, they're just tough guys.
War. They're just war. Yeah. Team Cody versus Team Judgment Day in 2023 is number 5. Number 4 is going to be Team 2.0 versus Team Black and Gold. That was fun. That was a
fun war game. Although it looked really weird because they did it at the Performance Center and it was just like they took up the entire area.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Number 3 is going to be Undisputed Era and Kevin Owens. Undisputed Era versus Kevin Owens, Keith Lee, Tommaso Ciampa, and Dominic Dijak.
Yeah,
that was actually a really good one, but not expecting it to be that good with that team. I was like, I wasn't super sold on Keith Lee and Dijak. I know they had good matches together.
I think Dijak is so good. Dijak is so good.
He's already fired. He's gone.
Not if I had to scratch you, it'd be in PPW.
Yeah. Team Ripley versus Team Baszler is going to be number 2, and that's when Dakota Kai turns. That is a really good one.
That is a good one.
And number 1 is going to be Roderick. It's Undisputed Era versus Roderick Strong, AOP, and Sanity.
I think that one gets a bump because
it's the first War Games in NXT.
It was the first War Games in 17 years, unless you count. Actually, it wasn't MLW. They did 2 of them. They actually used the name for a while somehow, but. And then there's been other things like Lethal Lockdown as a War Games knockoff. ECW did one called like Ultimate Jeopardy. There's been a million War Games knockoffs. New
Japan has done. So here's actually a list. As you're saying, that ECW had their own version of War Games. CZW had their own War Games.
Cage of Death. Yeah, Cage of Death is huge.
Yeah, IWA Mid-South had their own. Major League of Wrestling had their own. New Japan Pro Wrestling had their own. Pro Wrestling Unplugged had their own. Pro Wrestling Eve. Ring of Honor. Smoky Mountain had their own. TNA Wrestling. Everyone had their own version of the show. Extreme Pro Wrestling, Rob Black's promotion, had their own version. So it's been done. It's a fun pay-per-view. It's a good theory. I actually think the surrender should be the term.
Yeah,
like they should bring that back.
I don't like the pins. I don't.
Yeah.
Or if you leave the cage, like put a roof on the damn cage.
Yeah.
You do high spots every match.
Yep, totally agree. But so we'll be hanging out probably on the 24th, somehow watching it pay-per-view. I'm not sure exactly where we're doing it, but if you want to come and hang out with us after the streams, you can always join the Discord. That link is back. We did bring the Discord back. I'm no nonsense in the Discord. If you come in and bring that drama, you will get smacked, and you will.
I'm looking around there somewhere. Even.
Yeah. But that's pretty much all I got. BP, you got anything to plug before we get out of here?
No, we talked about PPW a ton at the beginning of all this, so that's all I'm really talking about. We'll be at Dynamite tomorrow, but that's not really a plug. But no, I don't really have.
If you see us at Dynamite, come take a picture with us.
Yeah. So far, that's all you have concrete on my wrestling schedule right now.
And next Tuesday, we're back at 7:00, and we'll be doing Survivor Series 1998.
The Deadly Game, Vince Russo's finest hour.
Yeah. Survivor Series, another cool one where you had obviously the 4-man teams. I feel like
the teams.
That's why they kind of
they
put them back together, but they kind of mashed Survivor Series and War Games together and just made it one show.
Well, the original Survivor Series was in 1987, a few months after the first War Games.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how the two shows kind of mashed
and
together.
And it was put together on Thanksgiving night because that's when Crockett did Starrcade, and that 1987 Starrcade was their Crockett's first pay-per-view. So Vince McMahon put together Survivor Series on pay-per-view and said, if you don't carry us and you carry Jim Crockett, you're not getting WrestleMania 4.
Yeah.
And like 10
The
cable
rest is
systems.
history.
10 cable systems carried Crockett.
Yeah. All right. That'll do it for us. Tornado Tag. We're out of here. We'll see you guys next week when we cover Survivor Series. So we'll see you then.
It's a deadly game.
It's a deadly game. It's the final countdown. I don't know if that's I don't know why I said that. But I felt like if that song was appropriate for an intro for this show. But that's going to do it. We'll see you guys next time. We're out of here.